You think your city is safe because you've got a Costco membership and a baseball bat in your closet. That confidence right there, that's mistake number one. Because if you're living in one of the 7 cities we're about to break down, your survival window isn't measured in days or weeks. We're talking hours, maybe less. Here's the thing most people don't realize about zombie outbreaks in urban centers. Population density isn't just a statistic, it's a conversion rate. Every 1,000 people per square mile translates to infection vectors, resource competition, and cascade failures that turn your home into a kill box faster than you can say, shelter in place. The cities we're covering today aren't just bad for zombies, they're tactically catastrophic. And if you're watching this from one of them, you need to understand exactly why your odds just dropped through the floor. If you're the kind of person who thinks about this stuff seriously, who wants tactical breakdowns instead of Hollywood fantasies, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're building a community of people who'd rather face hard truths than comfortable lies. Plus, when the dead start walking, you'll want this channel in your survival playlist. Let's establish parameters first, because the type of zombie matters more than people think. We're working with fast movers, 28 days later style, not Romero shamblers. Transmission through bodily fluids, 20 to 60-second incubation after bite or fluid contact, and they retain enough motor function to climb, turn door handles, and problem solve at about the level of a panicked animal. They're not strategic, but they're relentless and they respond to sound and movement like sharks to blood in water. Now, what makes a city catastrophic for outbreak survival? 4 core factors. Population density, because that's your conversion rate from humans to hostiles. Geographic constraints, choke points, bridges, tunnels, anything that turns your escape routes into killing floors. Resource distribution, how dependent you are on supply chains that collapse the moment panic hits. And verticality, because tall buildings stop being shelter and start being tombs when the power goes out, and stairwells become vertical tunnels full of infected. Number 7, Seattle. You're thinking rain, coffee, tech money, how bad could it be? Let's talk about what happens when a city built on isthmuses and surrounded by water tries to evacuate. Seattle's got exactly 5 ways out if you don't count boats. I-5 north and south, I-90 east, Highway 99, and Highway 520. That's it. 5 arteries for a metro area of 4 million people. The moment outbreak reports hit social media, those highways become parking lots. You've got the Cascade Range to the east, Puget Sound to the west, and every bridge becomes a fatal funnel. Seattle's also got hills, steep ones, and when you're running from fast movers, elevation becomes your enemy. Add the constant rain-reducing visibility and making surfaces slick, and you've got a recipe for falls, injuries, and getting caught by things that don't slip. The tech campus culture means most people are used to problems having digital solutions. Your app isn't going to summon an Uber when half the drivers are eating the other half. The fix is simple. You leave before the panic, not during it, and you head east over the mountains before everyone else has the same idea. But Seattle's polite, orderly culture means people wait for official instructions that never come, and by the time they move, they're moving into a wall of cars and infected. Number 6, San Francisco. 7 by 7 miles of hills, fog, and tactical nightmares wrapped in progressive housing policy. The Bay Area has 5 million people and exactly 3 ways out by land. Golden Gate Bridge north, Bay Bridge east, and 101 south down the peninsula. Every single one of those routes becomes a death trap within the first hour. Picture this. You're in the Mission District when reports start coming in. You make the smart call early, grab your go bag, head for your car. By the time you reach street level, traffic's already snarling. The hills that make the city photogenic become vertical mazes where you can't see what's around the corner, and gravity works against you when you run. The fog that rolls in every afternoon cuts visibility to 30 feet. You can hear infected, but can't see them until they're close enough to touch. And those iconic hills mean you're either exhausting yourself climbing or picking up dangerous speed descending, and fast movers can sprint downhill just fine while you're fighting to stay upright. The tech population means everyone thinks they can optimize their escape route with real-time traffic data. They can't. Everyone's using the same apps, getting the same suggestions, creating new jams on alternate routes. The bridges become impassable within 2 hours, and if you're still in the city by hour 3, you're staying there permanently. Number 5. Las Vegas. An artificial ecosystem in the desert that exists because we pump in everything it needs. Cut those supply lines and Vegas dies in about 72 hours even without zombies. Add infected and that timeline compresses to nothing. Vegas has 2.2 million people in the metro area and literally one natural resource, sunlight. Everything else, water, food, power, it's all trucked in. The moment panic hits, those trucks stop coming, and Vegas is a closed system with millions of people and nowhere to go. I-15 runs north-south, that's your primary artery. Highway 95 gives you northwest or southeast options. That's it for major roads out. Now here's where it gets ugly in a different way. Vegas is a 24-hour city with massive casino complexes that are essentially self-contained municipalities. The Venetian has 7,000 rooms, MGM Grand has 6,500. When Outbreak hits, those buildings become hives. Thousands of people in enclosed spaces, recirculated air, limited exits, and once infection gets into a casino hotel, it spreads through the ventilation and hallways like fire through kindling. The tourist population means half the people in the city don't know the geography, don't have vehicles and are going to panic in stupid ways. The strip becomes impassable faster than you'd think. And when you do get out of the city, you're heading into desert where your car breaking down equals death by dehydration before zombies even matter. Vegas works because the supply chain works. Break that chain and you're in a death trap that just happens to have really good buffets for about 6 hours. Number 4, New Orleans. A city that's mostly below sea level, surrounded by water, with exactly 2 major routes out. If that doesn't immediately sound like a terrible place to be during an outbreak, you haven't been paying attention. New Orleans has 1.2 million people in the metro area, and most of them are in a bowl. I-10 runs east-west. That's your primary escape route. I-55 heads north. When panic hits, those highways don't just jam with traffic, they become the only high ground in some areas. The moment you step off the interstate, you're potentially in water. And water slows you down while it doesn't slow down infected at all. The heat and humidity are constant. 95 degrees with 90% humidity is a normal summer day. You're exhausted in minutes, your gear is soaked, and you're leaving a scent trail that makes you easy to track. The architecture, all those beautiful narrow streets and courtyard homes, becomes a tactical nightmare. Alleys that dead end, streets that curve unexpectedly, and those wrought iron balconies mean infected can come from above. The cultural tendency to shelter in place and wait out disasters, learned from hurricanes, works against you here. Hurricanes don't climb through your windows. The Superdome site of the Katrina disaster becomes a refugee center again. And just like Katrina, it becomes a nightmare of overcrowding, resource failure, and people trapped with no way out. Except this time, instead of waiting for FEMA, you're waiting to become infected or starve. Number 3, Miami. A peninsula where the only way out is north through urban sprawl or by boat into open ocean. If you're in Miami Beach when it starts, you're on an island connected by 5 causeways that become instant choke points. The moment those bridges clog or get blocked, you're trapped with everyone else on a sandbar with finite resources. Miami Metro has 6 million people and exactly one direction to evacuate, north. I-95 is your lifeline, but it's also the lifeline for Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and everyone else in South Florida. That highway becomes a parking lot of biblical proportions within the first 2 hours. The turnpike gives you an alternate, but it's tolled, and when the power grid fails, those unmanned toll plazas become obstacles requiring navigation through stopped cars. The heat is murderous, averaging 90 degrees in summer, but it's the hurricane season that makes Miami uniquely terrible. Imagine trying to survive infected during a Category 3 hurricane. You can't see, can't hear, can't move without getting blown over or hit by debris, and infected don't care about weather. The architecture, concrete high-rises on the beach, becomes vertical tombs when elevators fail and stairwells fill with infected. The cultural mix and tourist population means language barriers during panic. People getting different information from different sources, making contradictory decisions, creating chaos that accelerates collapse. And all those luxury boats in the marinas? Everyone has the same idea about escaping by water, and none of them know how to navigate, maintain, or fuel a boat for long-term survival. Number 2. Los Angeles. 15 million people spread across 500 square miles of urban sprawl, with car dependency so complete that public transit is almost irrelevant. LA doesn't have a downtown in the traditional sense. It's dozens of neighborhoods that happen to share freeways, and those freeways become rivers of stopped cars faster than anywhere else in America. LA's geography is a trap. You've got mountains to the north and east, ocean to the west, and exactly 6 major routes out of the basin. I-5 north and south, I-10 east, I-15 northeast, Highway 101 north, and PCH if you're willing to crawl. During normal rush hour, these routes are nightmares. During outbreak panic, they become miles-long parking lots where people abandon vehicles and try to run, creating impassable barriers. The car dependency means when traffic stops, people are stranded. No meaningful walking distance between resources, temperatures regularly hitting 100 degrees in summer, and air quality that's already compromised becoming toxic when fires start from crashes and abandoned vehicles. Those fires, by the way, are inevitable. LA has thousands of cars, and during panic, crashes cause fuel fires that spread to vegetation and buildings. The entertainment industry culture means everyone thinks they're the protagonist. They're not. There's no plot armor, no convenient weapons cache, no last-minute helicopter rescue. The sprawl means you can't fortify a neighborhood because there's too much perimeter, too many access points, and not enough community cohesion to organize defense. You're isolated in your house, maybe with your immediate neighbors, watching the infected population grow exponentially in every direction. Number 1. New York City. 8 million people on an island with bridges and tunnels as the only way off. If you're in Manhattan when outbreak hits, you're in the worst possible tactical situation in American urban geography. Let's run through what happens minute by minute. Minute 0. First reports of attacks in Times Square. By minute 10, social media is exploding, people are starting to move. By minute 20, the subway system becomes a death trap. Underground, enclosed, no visibility, and infected, can board at any stop and spread through the cars. By minute 40, every bridge and tunnel is gridlocked. Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge, the tunnels, all of them become parking lots where people abandon cars and try to walk, only to find crowds so dense they can barely move. And here's the thing about Manhattan bridges. They're long. Really long. Brooklyn Bridge is over a mile of exposed travel with no cover and nowhere to go if infected appear. The verticality is what makes Manhattan uniquely catastrophic. You've got thousands of high-rise buildings, millions of people stacked vertically, and when the power goes out, which it will within hours, those buildings become vertical tombs. Stairwells amplify sound, making every footfall echo through dozens of floors. You don't know if you're climbing towards safety or into a floor full of infected until you're already committed. The subway system, normally carrying 5 million riders a day, becomes a network of tunnels full of infected. Those tunnels connect under the entire city, meaning infected can move underground while survivors clog the surface streets. You're running from street-level threats while more pour up from subway entrances behind you. The supply density means New York runs on constant replenishment. The city consumes more food in a day than most cities do in a week, and none of it is produced locally. By day 2, stores are empty. By day 3, people are getting desperate. By day 4, even the survivors are becoming dangerous. The population density, 27,000 people per square mile in Manhattan, means every person is a potential vector. Every apartment building is full of potential infected. Every office tower is a hive waiting to swarm. And the cultural anonymity means nobody knows their neighbors, nobody's organized, and everyone's making individual survival decisions that put them in competition with millions of other people making the same calculations. Let's be real for a minute about what survival looks like in these cities. If you're in New York when fast movers appear, your survival window is measured in hours, not days. Get off the island in the first 30 minutes or accept that you're not leaving. Same principle applies to all 7 of these cities, but with different timelines. Seattle and San Francisco give you maybe 2 hours before the choke points close. LA sprawl might give you 3 or 4 hours to navigate side streets before fires and abandoned cars make movement impossible. Miami, Vegas, and New Orleans depend heavily on when you realize the need to leave versus when everyone else does. The practical advice is simple, but nobody wants to hear it. You leave before the panic, not during it. You leave before social media confirms the threat, when you're still processing rumors and hoping they're wrong. You leave before your neighbors start loading cars, before the highways fill, before the bridges become parking lots. And you don't come back. Not for supplies you forgot, not for family members who didn't take it seriously, not for pets or photos or anything else, because every minute you wait is minutes you don't have when you need them. The survival rating for being caught in any of these 7 cities during a fast mover outbreak is blunt. Short-term, first 24 hours. 3 out of 10 if you're mobile, armed, and ruthlessly pragmatic about abandoning people who slow you down. 1 out of 10 if you hesitate, try to help others, or believe authorities have a plan. Long-term survival, staying in these cities for more than a week after outbreak. Effectively 0. The resource base collapses. The infected population grows exponentially, and the geographic constraints that trapped you initially become permanent prisons. The best cities for outbreak survival are the ones we didn't cover. Mid-sized cities with multiple escape routes, lower density, and proximity to rural areas. Places like Boise, Albuquerque, Salt Lake City, where you can be out of the urban core in minutes and into defensible terrain in under an hour. But if you're stuck in one of these 7, your prep focus isn't survival, it's escape. Have a bag ready, know your routes, and commit to leaving on your own judgment, not when officials tell you it's time. All right, your turn. Which of these 7 cities are you in or near? Do you have an escape plan, or are you counting on luck and hoping it doesn't happen? Would you leave based on social media rumors, or would you wait for official confirmation? And honestly, if it happened right now, this minute, could you be in your car and moving within 10 minutes? No plot armor, no respawn button, just honest assessment. These breakdowns are what we do here. Tactical reality instead of Hollywood fantasy, harsh truths instead of comfortable lies. If you want more city analyses, worst-case scenarios, and survival strategies that might actually keep you breathing, subscribe and hit the bell. Drop your city in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong about its survival rating. Let's argue about it, because the conversation is part of the prep. Stay tactical, stay realistic, and remember, the dead don't care about your plan. They care about whether you're too slow to execute it.